It's an honor to join you here on Capitol Hill to pay tribute to those who have given their lives for the cause of freedom in Iran. I'm inspired by the speakers we've heard today because amid the pain, I see something powerful. I see the resilience of the Iranian people who, despite decades of repression and hardship, continue to rise. Today, as we remember those we've lost, we must also recognize the ongoing fight for democracy and human rights in the Islamic Republic. Because today, Iran stands at a crossroads. Brave women, students, workers, and youth are in the streets, risking everything in defiance of tyranny. Their message is clear. No dictatorship, past or present, will silence the cry for a secular, democratic republic. Despite the world's condemnation, you've witnessed today how the Iranian people wield the death penalty as a weapon for political oppression. This is not justice. This is state-sponsored murder. The United Nations and human rights organizations must no longer stand by. Their silence enables tyranny. Their inaction costs lives. I am today calling on the United States and the global community to act with urgency, fierce urgency. Sanction officials complicit in these crimes. Amplify diplomatic pressure. Make it clear that the execution of political prisoners will not be met with quiet diplomacy, but with firm, united resistance. If we fail to act, we only set a dangerous precedent and send a dangerous message that regimes can silence opposition with impunity, that death is the price dissidents pay for daring to speak out. The time for statements is past. The time for action is now. History teaches us that opposing authoritarian regimes is dangerous and that it's always a losing game. And yet I stand before you today with hope because the truth is undeniable. The Islamic Republic is weakening. Internally, it's cracking. Regionally, it's losing ground. Its reliance on the IRGC and a narrow band of hardcore loyalists cannot hide the deep disillusionment of the Iranian people. The streets of Iran tell a different story. Economic collapse, corruption, military failure, repression, and a regime that shows no regard for human rights. As an Iran policy scholar, let me be clear. Internal reform is a fantasy. Defections will not save the system. Only external pressure and a people-led revolution can bring about change. I found myself explaining this to a student yesterday, that Tehran's weaknesses can be identified and they can be exploited, but no major power has done so yet, and the world has yet to witness the full fury of Iran's organized resistance. And appeasement, a tool that has been embraced for too long, has emboldened the regime. Hostage takings, threats, defiance, they all continue, and they all make the world less safe. The irony is that while the regime struggles, it still plays the same tired games, manipulating geopolitics, while its people suffer. But the mask is slipping. For the first time in decades, there is real belief that the regime could fall. New ideas are emerging that could precipitate this collapse. Some are now suggesting that the Shah's son should be installed. That path is not only misguided, it's dangerous. Because the Pahlavi dynasty was the opposite of democracy. It centralized power. It silenced dissent. It repressed freedoms. Savak, the Shah's secret police, tortured and killed those who dared to speak out. Consider that in 1975, the Shah banned all political parties. And the 1979 revolution was a clear rejection, a decisive rejection of monarchy and its brutal legacy. Today's protesters who chant "down with the oppressor," be it the Shah or the supreme leader, carry on this legacy, and their message says it all. Supporting any symbol of monarchy betrays the people's demand for democracy. It's a step backwards, not a step forwards. The Shah's son has promised much but delivered little, and exploited personal gain by raising money without accountability and carrying on his father's lavish lifestyle. And where his charm has failed, his followers have used threats and intimidation. Like you, I too have been on the receiving ends of these cowardly attacks. The US must change course. We need a clear, firm stance. No more illusions about diplomacy or reform. Pressure works. Siding with the people works. Giving in does not. The regime is vulnerable. It can't heat homes in the winter despite vast energy reserves. Protests erupt on a weekly basis over basic human needs. The cracks are wide and they are deep. The US today has a choice to stand with the people fighting for freedom, or sticking with the failed strategy of capitulation. We must amplify pressure, and more importantly, we must amplify the voices of the Iranian people. And this is why I welcome the growing support in the United States and across the world for the National Council of Resistance of Iran and its leader, Madam Rajavi. Their 10-point plan envisions a secular government, gender equality, and a rejection of nuclear weapons. That is a real alternative. Now is the time for democratic nations to act. We must use leverage. We must tie diplomacy to human rights. We must enforce consequences, and we must stop allowing negotiations to be used as a cover for Iran's nuclear ambitions. Ladies and gentlemen, we find ourselves today at a turning point. Authoritarianism is rising, and the decisions that we make now will shape generations to come. By backing those fighting for change in Iran, the world can strike a decisive blow against oppression and move towards a brighter future. But this takes courage. But the reward is clear. The reward will be a Middle East free of theocratic terror and an Iran without clerical rulers. Let me end with this. I believe that America is strongest when it stands for democracy. And it is most noble when it defends justice at home and abroad. Supporting the Iranian people honors that legacy. And I thank all of you for coming out today and all that you do for the support of freedom in Iran. Thank you all.